Shalom, Kal Halayimla, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to my apostles, a great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the elect. I'm Zaim, and this is another video. I came across this article on People. I read it one time, and I'm going to read it again and see what scriptures come up and see what comes out through the Spirit. And Lord, will you edify? I don't even know what I'm going to name it. But let's get straight into it. This is an article from the People. New details revealed about the boat Nolan Wells was on with friends for July 4th party before his death. And as we know, Nolan Wells has been in the news lately. This Jake young man from Mississippi went out on a boat with some Edomite Esau friends, and he didn't come back. And we're going to read and see what it says. The records support the timeline previously described by some people who saw Wells, which was the Jake kid, that day, but don't indicate where the teen was during his mysterious final hours. Let's shoot this video. Okay. 18-year-old Nolan Wells' body was recovered July 6 in the waters of Horn Island, Mississippi, 2 days after he traveled there by boat with friends to celebrate the 4th of July. Well, they wasn't really his friends if they did that to him. Jake was left. We're gonna see what happens. The case drew national attention. So this was national. He made the national news, probably because he's a Jake, so-called African, that got missing around some so-called white people, some Edomites in Mississippi. And we all know that's common. We all know how it is down south with the Jake and the Indians, so-called Native American Indians, Gad, Reuben, how they'll get rid of you down here in the South. The case drew national attention largely because of unanswered questions about Wells' final hours and his cause of death. His family said they believe race has influenced how law enforcement is handling the ongoing investigation while calling for thoroughness and transparency. And hell yeah, well, Salakia, but yeah, race did influence how law enforcement was handling the case and the investigation. Because we all know down south it go down with these Edomites and Jake. They'll get you out of here. Newly released records show the movements of the boat that carried Nolan Wells to Horn Island, Mississippi on July 4th before the 18-year-old disappeared and later died in a case that has attracted national attention. While much remains publicly unknown about Wells' final hours amid both a sheriff's investigation and his family's own probe, the boat records align with what some friends who saw Wells that day have already said. Wells traveled to the island by boat with friends for an Independence Day party, but did not return with them. That evening, his mother reported him missing after hearing from one of his friends, and multiple agencies launched a search on July 5th. His body was recovered in water at the island on July 6th. The fuck? How you go missing on an island where they say he supposedly drowned, but really he got into an altercation with his friends, and they're searching for you, and they find you a day later? I don't understand. But we're gonna keep on reading. Wells' cause of death has not been confirmed, and results of an official and independent autopsy are pending. So some places say that he drowned. Some places say that he got into an altercation with his friends, and some things happened. But we'll know the truth sooner or later when it comes out. There have been conflicting accounts about whether Wells chose to remain on Horn Island. His friends told authorities that he did not. His friends told authorities that he did, and that he had met a girl there. But Wells' parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, have said it would have been out of character and reckless for their son to separate from the group. Exactly. So you're a Jake kid, you're out here with all these Edomites, and you decide to stay on the island with these Edomites instead of going back to safety. That don't make sense. Elmore has called that account a lie. It damn sure is a lie. Wells was last seen on the island around 3 p.m. local time on July 4th, according to authorities. On July 7th, Ashley Cole, a local chancery judge whose son Warren was with Wells that day, released a lengthy statement saying Warren last saw Wells around 3 p.m. According to Cole, the chancery judge, Warren left about 4:30 p.m. because the boat he was on began taking on water and experiencing problems with the bilge pump. She said her son was interviewed by the sheriff's department and cooperated fully with the investigation. So if there was a problem with the pump, how come your son got to safety and Wells didn't? Shit is fishy. But let's get a scripture. And he probably won't get charged if his mother is a judge, because they probably got pulled in the system. So let's get a scripture. Let's go to Psalms 73. Psalm 73 and 5. They are not in trouble as other men. See, these white boys, they probably won't get in trouble because it's nothing new for them to get rid of a Jake down here down south. Neither are they plagued like other men. No, they're not under the curses. See, Jake is still under the curses. So we're gonna get dealt with like that by these Edomites. Because that's just what they do. They have a perpetual hatred against us. And there will be enmity between us and them. Verse 6, therefore pride compasses them about as a chain. See, yeah, they proud. They proud that they have this so-called white superiority, and they're not in trouble as other men, and they can go along, like it says here, violence covereth them as a garment. So they commit these violent acts against the Israelites, and they're proud to do it, and they are not in trouble as other men. Verse 7, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. These boys have more than their hearts could wish. They own the island. They went to the island. They own these boats. They living good. They eating good. They don't have to worry about nothing. They can easily get rid of Jake and won't be charged for it, because they're not in trouble like other men. Verse 8, they are corrupt. Yes, they are very corrupt. Very corrupt. And speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, How doth Yahweh know? So they doing this wickedness, and they thinking that Yahweh doesn't know about it, but Yahweh has eyes on the earth and everywhere. It says Yahweh's eyes are 10 times brighter than the sun. He got angels watching everything y'all do, everything we do. And is there knowledge in the Most High? Of course, the Most High knows everything. Now let's go back to this article. On July 7th, Ashley Cole, a local chancery judge, which is Warren's mother, whose son Warren was whose son on July 7th, Ashley Cole, which is Warren's mother, one of Nolan Wells' friends, so-called friends, because these Edomites are not your friend. A local chancery judge whose son Warren was with Wells that day released a lengthy statement saying Warren last saw Wells around 3 p.m. According to Cole, the Edomite, Warren left about 4:30 p.m. because the boat he was on began taking on water and experiencing problems with his bilge pump. She said her son was interviewed by the sheriff's department and cooperated fully with investigators. Another of Wells' friends who was on the island that day, Tracyton Shepard, told ABC News that a group left the island on the boat because of an electrical problem, but that Wells remained on the island after meeting a young woman. Records obtained by NBC News support the timeline about the boat leaving, indicating the boat's operator called dispatch around 4 p.m. to request assistance. The records, however, do not confirm everyone who traveled on the boat or provide further information about Wells' whereabouts around that time. Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn and our bilge pump stopped working, the caller says in audio per NBC. We're sinking. Can you all please come? The caller reported there were like 7 people on the boat, adding, I want to get this boat unsunk and towed back. Separately, GPS data obtained by CBS News from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources shows the vessel left a dock shortly before 10 a.m. and arrived at Horn Island at 11:14 a.m. where it remained until 4:31 p.m. Wells' family has said he stayed with friends the night before ahead of going to the party that day. And that's the young Jake, Nolan Wells. According to the GPS data, the boat left the island at 4:31 p.m. and returned to its original departure dock. If it then traveled into Fort Bayou around 5:52 p.m. before returning to the dock at 6:06 p.m., CBS reported. The boat traveled back to Fort Bayou boat launch. The boat traveled back to the Fort Bayou boat launch at 7:19 p.m., according to Mississippi Department of Marine Resources report. It later traveled overland to the nearby Biloxi residence of the boat's owners. Wells' parents have retained civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and together they have sharply questioned the investigation so far, calling for thoroughness and transparency and suggesting race is a factor, while saying they don't believe Wells accidentally drowned, as authorities have said it possible. And we all that are Israelites know that he didn't drown out there with them Edomites. They probably, you know what they did. And it says right here, we always taught him that if you go with a group and you stay with a group. Dad Elmore said on Good Morning America, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Facts. True. Do not separate from the group. Show better not. And you around them Edomites too? Because I always said safety is in numbers. True. So he knew to stay with this group. So why would he split from the group? I don't know. Me either. The family has also questioned why Wells' friends would leave without him while taking his keys and phone with which his parents later received after he was reported missing. One of Wells' friends said he left his phone to protect it from the ocean. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter has said his investigation remains active, and both he and Wells' family have asked anyone with first-hand information to come forward. Now let's get some scriptures. Yeah, they did that to Wells. They did that. But when we get in the kingdom, though, all is gonna be repaid back. Go to Ecclesiasticus 12 and 11. You cannot trust these Edomites, my man. Especially if you're an Israelite. You cannot trust these Edomites. Ecclesiasticus 12, chapter 12, verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching. Yeah. So you think that this man is humble? And that he's your friend? You smile, y'all drink beers together on the boat? That everything is cool? Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Yeah, beware of these Edomites, man. They be playing the snake the whole time. Acting like they're your friends, but ready to bite you at any chance they get. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. You can't wipe away these Edomites' rust, man. You can't wipe away their hate from you. You can't wipe away their evilness. You can't wipe away their wickedness. It's going to always be there. Why? Because they have a perpetual hatred against us. And there's enmity between our seed and their seed. And I'm going to get there after Ecclesiasticus. And this is Ecclesiasticus 12 and 12. The next verse. Set him not by thee. No, don't set him by you, my nigga. Don't set him by you. Because you never know this man's intentions, and they're never good. Lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. So after you so-called buddy up against them like they're your friends, and the end results is going to always be the same. They're going to bite you because they're snakes. And then you're going to remember these words and be pricked therewith. And who shall pity a charmer? Let's see. Let's go to that. Let's see. Salaki, bear with me. Bear with me. Salaki was the next verse. I'm tripping. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 13, like I was saying, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with the serpent? So you out there playing with the serpent, knowing he ain't got nothing else to do except bite you, or any such as cometh nigh wild beasts. And the reason why they do this, and they don't even know why they do this, but the reason why they do this is because they have a perpetual hatred against Israel. And let's get that. It's in Ezekiel. Let's look. Let's see. Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, an ongoing hatred for the children of Israel, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, the gun, the knife, whatever, however they can end your life, hanging you, whatever, they gonna do it. And because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of the calamity, in the time their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I liveth, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So blood for blood. When the tables turn, it's going to be Edomite on Edomite, other nations coming against Edomite, and blood shall pursue them. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate. And Mount Seir is the habitation of the Edomites, and it's going to be made most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. So it's going to be slain men everywhere. In thy hills, slain Edomites everywhere. In thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall, they that are slain with the sword. I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And let's get this last scripture to see again further how they don't like the Israelites and why it is so. Let's go to Genesis 3. And 15. This is why they don't like the Israelites, and they don't even know it. And Genesis 3 and 15. And I will put enmity between thee, which is Esau, and the woman, which is symbolic to Eve, which is symbolic to Israel, and between thy seed, the Israelite seed, and between thy seed, Salakia, let's start over. Genesis 3 and 15. And I will put enmity between thee, which is Esau, and the woman, which is Eve, and between thy seed, the Edomites, Esau Edom, and her seed, the Israelites. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Shalom.